Hey, in true, let's just give up and everybody obey in advance form. ABC News is has agreed to pay $15 million to the Trump Presidential Library um, because he was suing them for defamation, even though what George Stephanopoulos said was not defamation. So I'm just trying to get my head around this obeying in advance. It says just one day after Trump was ordered to sit for a deposition in a defamation case against ABC News and George Stephanopoulos, ABC News has agreed to pay $15 million towards Donald Trump's presidential library, like he's ever even stepped foot in a library. Trump. He doesn't read. The settlement resolves a lawsuit over Stephanopoulos' on air claim that Trump had been found liable for raping E. Jean Carroll. He was. He was. This is not, I don't even understand how this defamation case got through. It should have been thrown out. I mean, facts are facts. How crooked are the judges? Well, we already know there are crooked judges. So oh my God. So as part of the agreement, ABC will also post a note on its website expressing regret for the statement made during a March 10th segment of This Week with George Stephanopoulos. We know that Mark Zuckerberg is going to kiss the ring and writing a check for $1 million towards the Trump inauguration. Jeff Bezos is doing the same thing, owner of Amazon and the Washington Post, and of course would not let the Washington Post endorse Kamala Harris. Same with the LA Times. They are now pulling any editorials that are critical of Trump's cabinet. Trump's cabinet that is proposed are full of criminals and drunks and people who have sexually assaulted others. Um, it's insane. We are living in an upside down world, and the oligarchs are now kissing the ring. They don't care about right or wrong. And of course, the chief one is Elon Musk, who is largely responsible for getting Trump over the finish line. Obviously, Merrick Garland and the media got it to the point where he can even run. But I'm in shock that is happening this quickly. We have newspapers around the country who are owned by very wealthy people who wanted Trump, I guess, for the corporate tax breaks. So now we have ABC News. This is just mystifying to me, just caving in a defamation lawsuit that never should have even made it this far. It should have been thrown out. And George Stephanopoulos stated a fact that Trump was found liable of sexual assault, of rape, B. Jean Carroll in a New York court. That's New York law. And of course, Trump is never going to pay E. Jean Carroll the money that was supposed to be awarded to her. This is about as demoralizing as it gets. This is about as demoralizing as it gets. We thought there'd at least be a pulse, you know? But this is what happens when you've got these billionaires who own these huge social media sites, who own our newspapers, who own our cable networks. We don't get the truth anymore. People will be afraid to speak out because if Trump sues you for libel or defamation, even if you're telling the truth and you can prove it, it appears that it doesn't matter. We live in a post-truth world with Trump. His first presidency was just a warm-up. We keep hoping that it's not true. We keep hoping that somebody will fix it. We keep hoping that the people who have the power and the money will fight back a little bit. And we see that they're the first ones to roll over, caving. Other countries, maybe not quite so easily, but they do have to play ball with the United States. And what will be factored into their strategy in terms of their diplomatic interactions with Trump will be that they know he's a liar and a crook and a thug and a mobster. These checks that are being written by the oligarchs, by Amazon, by Facebook, by Bezos and Zuckerberg, this is mafia. This is mafia stuff. We got to pay to play, pay the mafia boss, bribing, or you guys get nothing. You get no access. I mean, you only get in if you pay. And then you got to wonder what's being paid to Trump under the table for himself. It's a lot more than $1 million by these guys. Mark my words. He's not even in office yet, and already Trump has the corrupt administration in the history of this country. And the MAGA won't admit it yet. Your relatives, your friends, they still don't think it's going to happen to them. That farmer in Iowa, was it Iowa? No, it was North Dakota, I think, that we saw. And saw him on one of the news shows. And he's MAGA. And he says, yeah, most of the people, at least half of our workers, are undocumented migrants. But we don't think Trump is going to come after them because he knows that that would drive the food supply in a matter of days. Nobody eats. Nothing gets done. Can't milk cows. Can't get the food to market. So he won't do it because he knows us and he likes us. He doesn't care about you guys. You are a means to an end. You get upset when we call you idiots for supporting him. We mean it because you are. And he's going to prove it to you. This is why you were his target. You MAGA idiots that don't pay attention to facts. You pay attention to your feelings, how he makes you feel. Like you need some superhero. Well, your freaking superhero is going to raise your food prices even more. The CEO of Walmart, he's on board. He would not have said what he said if he didn't know it was perfectly okay with Trump. Raising prices. Trump's probably getting a cut. And then Trump comes out and says, well, yeah, it's going to be really hard to lower food prices because once they're up there, you can't bring them down. First of all, yes, you can. In the history of all food prices, yes, you can. We can look at it. And also, you promised us, Trump, when you were running for president, that one of the first things you're going to do is lower food prices. And your stupid MAGA idiot supporters believed you because they thought the high price of food was Biden's fault. Inflation was coming down under Biden. The oligarchs and the uber wealthy who control these things were starting to feel the heat because pressure was on them. It was greed. Now, COVID, the pandemic, gave them an excuse to raise the prices for a while, but then they kept it up. And they were getting called out. And they would have been dealt with had Harris won the presidency. But because Trump won, they're like, oh, gosh, that whole lowering food prices or lowering prices on everything, not going to happen. We just can't. Again, the CEO of Walmart, who made $27 million this year in 2024. They're robbing us blind. They want us poor. They want us sick. They want us unable to function, unable to fight back, because as long as we're scrambling, as long as we're hurting, they can go on a looting spree. And that's what this is. A criminal looting spree, sanctioned and organized and led by Donald Trump. Because he was able to convince enough idiots in this country that he was going to take care of them. And already he's saying, no, I can't do it. Sorry. Oops. As these guys rake in more and more money for themselves. I think that's a good thing to bring up over the holidays with your MAGA friends and family if you're still in touch with them. Hold them accountable so that this never happens again. And these will be different arguments than we've had when Trump was running for president. These are different arguments because now these are facts. It's not, well, he says this or that isn't true, or what about Biden? Facts are facts. And you don't even have to talk about Biden and Harris anymore. You can just say, this is what Trump promised, but this is what he's saying and doing now. And don't let them, but what about? No whataboutism. We might not be able to change things. I mean, maybe we have we can use a strategy for the midterms. If enough of these MAGA idiots understand what they've done to this country, what they're doing to all of us, and how it's going to reverberate around the world. But they have to know. And I guess you can't lay it all out, the whole litany. You got to break it down into pieces. Right now, hit them on food prices, on what the Walmart CEO has said and what Trump has said. That's your first thing. Hey, guys, Trump said he was going to lower prices, food prices. Now he says he's not. What happened? Why is this guy at Walmart who makes 27 million a year saying that they can't lower food prices? They can, everybody. They can. They just won't. So we are in for a world of hurt. And I hope everybody has the guts. Don't try and keep the peace, because look what they've done to us. Look what they've done to us. We're not going to have a middle class. If you've been middle class, maybe even upper middle class at times, that's over. That's over. And it's over for MAGA friends and family too. Make sure they know it. Have the conversation, have the difficult conversation, have the fight. Because this is where we are now. Pull them off that MAGA ledge now. They should be embarrassed. They should be shamed. They did this. They're guilty. And you got to make them see that. Yes, they're going to be on the defensive. But when there's no more debating it, because now that Trump, this is his second term, he can do whatever he wants. We may not even have elections again. He doesn't care what MAGA thinks. And they have to come to understand that. And then maybe, if we at least have midterms in 2 years for congressional midterms, maybe we can have that impact. Remember, I've talked before on this channel about how you need to keep in touch with your MAGA elected officials and how awful that is. They need to hear from you, because that margin in the House, that GOP margin in the House, is razor thin, razor thin. It can change in an instant. So make sure your MAGA folks understand what they've done. Trump doesn't care about the promises he made, and keep track and hold them to it. But I would break it down so it's just one issue at a time. And right now it's food prices. He promised he'd lower them. He right away said, he's not even in office yet. He said, yeah, we're not going to. And we got the Walmart executive saying, yeah, we're going to keep raising prices. Nail your MAGA folks on that, because this is where we are.